Another nail in my coffin! Hey everybody, it's friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete here, and this is my series, Nails in a Coffin, where we learn that with great kills, there must also come great nails. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. If you are new here, you can read what Nails in a Coffin is all about in the section down below, because these videos really aren't film reviews, rather a breakdown of the kills, and I evaluate how well the victim responded to their attack. You saw the title of this video, so you know what movie I'm going to talk about. The next 3 weeks, I'm going to be covering George Romero's original Living Dead trilogy. Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and Day of the Dead. These movies really are iconic in the horror genre, with Night of the Living Dead really setting the stage for all future zombie movies that followed after this. But, as you know, the word zombie is not used in this film. They are referred to as ghouls. This movie was released in 1968, and it's only the second black and white movie that I've covered on Nails in a Coffin, with the first one being The Evil Eye by Mario Bava that I covered a few weeks ago. I'll put a card over here for you to check that out. Now, normally when I start one of these videos, I'll say something like, hey, if you're unfamiliar with this movie, it's about... But this is Night of the Living Dead, the original, and you definitely are familiar with this movie, so I'm not going to go into what it's about. You know, it's Night of the Living Dead. So, sit back, relax, board up some windows as we put some nails in a coffin in Night of the Living Dead. As you know, Johnny is going to be the first one to die. He and his sister Barbara drive up to a cemetery in rural Pennsylvania to visit their father's grave. You can see that Barbara is a little uncomfortable just being in the cemetery, and Johnny starts teasing her, and we get that iconic line.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Barbara, annoyed by the teasing, tries to walk away from Johnny. She doesn't really care for it. But there's a man approaching him, and Johnny's saying, he's right there, he's coming for you. The man gets closer to Barbara, and he attacks her. Well, he's a zombie, of course, and Johnny wrestles him away from his sister, and during the struggle, they fall over. Johnny hits his head on a small tombstone, and the strike kills him. Johnny gets the first set of nails, and I think I'm going to be generous and give him 3 nails in a coffin. As soon as he saw Barbara in danger, he reacted like that and jump in to wrestle this man off of her. No, he didn't know he was a zombie or, you know, what the guy was doing there. Now, Johnny definitely wasn't the greatest fighter, as you can see, but I really didn't think that matters with Nails in a Coffin because he tried, and I try and rate how well a person responded to a dangerous situation. He didn't hesitate when the ghoul grabbed Barbara, and I see this as a selfless act, which is why I feel comfortable giving him 3 nails in the coffin. Our next kill doesn't happen for over an hour, so we're going to jump right to it since you know everything that happens in this movie. You've seen it at least a few times, so let's get right to it. Young couple Tom and Judy are next. Ben creates a plan for him and Tom to go to the fuel pump and fill up the truck now that they have the keys to it. They make some Molotov cocktails to use against the ghouls, so Ben and Tom remove the barricade from the door and they make a run for the truck. Tom runs to the house first, jumps in, tries to get it started, while Ben is holding off some other ghouls with a torch, and Tom does get the truck started. Before they leave, Judy runs out of the truck to go be with Tom. With Ben in the back of the truck, Tom drives off to the gas pumps to fill it up. He can't get the key to work, so Ben shoots off the lock. Tom grabs the nozzle but sprays gas all over the back of the truck, which was right next to a torch, causing the back of the truck to actually catch fire now. Tom gets in the truck and tries to drive it away with the back of the truck still on fire, and at the moment he realizes it's a lost cause and he stops, telling Judy we have to go. But it's a movie and of course her jacket gets caught, and when Tom is trying to help her, the truck explodes, killing the young couple. They died as a couple, and I'm going to nail them as a couple. I mean, you know what I mean. These two are only going to get 1 nail in the coffin apiece. First off, I don't know why Tom had to spray the whole back of the truck with gas. Ben shut the lock off, but it looked like the nozzle, was still spraying. The top wasn't off. I don't know how much it broke, but I think it was dumb for him just to spray gas all over the place instead of just pointing it straight down. Judy was pretty useless, and of course her jacket was caught because it's a movie, but she just looked at Tom and did nothing. She didn't say anything. They never should have driven the truck away. They should have gotten the hell away from the gas tank. This was just dumb all over. Too many other options for them to do. They did none of them, so I could only give them 1 nail in the coffin apiece. Ben fights his way back to the house, but Harry refuses to let him back in. Ben kicked the door open and got back in the house. Then Harry decides to help Ben barricade the door. After that's done, Ben just beats the shit out of Harry for wanting to kill him. Don't blame him, but he's the better man and he spares Harry's life for now. The power goes out of the house and it's starting to be overrun as more and more ghouls are trying to get in. Ben is trying to stop them from getting through the window, but he drops his gun in the process. Of course, the asshole of the movie, Harry, grabs Ben's gun, pointing at him, and he starts yelling at his wife to go get into the basement. While Harry's yelling at his wife to get into the basement, Ben throws a piece of wood at Harry and struggles with him to get the rifle. Helen is just frozen in his fear. Ben knocks Harry down and holds the rifle pointed at him, chaining around. Harry knows he's effed and he can only look on in horror as Ben shoots him in the gut. The ghouls are breaking into the house, there's way too many of them, and Helen is trying to hold the door. Hold the door! As the ghouls are reaching in, trying to grab her, Harry gets himself up and slowly goes down the basement steps. When he gets to the bottom, he stumbles over to where his daughter's lying, and he collapses dying. Harry, I think you know what we're going to give him, and I think you're going to agree with me. Say it with me. One nail in the coffin. He was a selfish, racist asshole. Really not much else to say. It's obvious why he died, because he was too busy being an asshole to try and work together as a team. He only pretty much wanted to save his own ass, F everybody else to him. But F him. Glad he died. He was a selfish jerk, and this is another good example of a one nail in the coffin kill. If you disagree, let me know in the comments down below. How many of nails would you have given Harry? More? I don't think anybody would give him more, but how about less? Would you give him like half a nail? Upstairs, the ghouls are breaking in, clawing at Helen through the door. Barbara snaps out of her catatonia when she sees the ghoul that killed Johnny. So she rushes over to Helen with a plank of wood, bracing herself against the door. This gave Helen a chance to run down the basement where we see her daughter, now a ghoul, eating a piece of Harry. Helen doesn't have any time to process what she's seeing because Karen sees her mom and goes in for a snack. She's slowly closing in on her mother, who can only fall back in shock. And she calls to Karen, but of course she's a ghoul now, she ain't gonna answer. Helen trips over, falls to the floor. Karen picks up a garden trowel, and young ghoul walks over to her mom and stabs her to death. Poor Helen, but I really have no choice but to give her one nail in the coffin as well. She did nothing here other than back up. After she fell, she never tried to get back up. She didn't fall hard on the floor either, where she could have been injured, so I didn't see any reason for her not to try and get back up. So these ghouls are no stronger now than they were when they were alive, probably even weaker in a sense. So I know it would have been pretty easy for Helen to at least push Karen away. I know you think it's your daughter still, but you've been aware of what's going on around you with the zombies and everything. So even you at least could have pushed her away and not have to kill her, but she did nothing at all. So this was another easy one nail in the coffin ranking. Ben and Barbara are not doing so well upstairs trying to hold off the ghouls. They're just overwhelmed because there's just too many of them right now. Johnny, now a ghoul of course, walks into the house, and Barbara sees this. She just freezes. Johnny grabs at her. She tries to fight him off, but it's too late. He pulls her outside, and she's mauled by a group of ghouls. In a kill that probably surprised a lot of people, I guess, Barbara earned herself 1.5 nails in the coffin. Now, yes, she was pretty much useless this entire film. There were a few moments where she showed some promise, which is why I gave her that extra half a nail, and I think I'm being too generous on that. I don't know. Other than that, there's not much else out to say for her. It was too little, too late, but she did try and help Helen at the end, and I can understand her being in shock and everything, so again, I'm going to be a little bit generous in this episode and give her 1.5 nails in the coffin. The horde is too much for Ben. He starts backing up from the door as there's too many, they're pouring in. Behind him, Karen approaches, ready for a bite. He's able to wrestle over with her for a second. He shoves her off, tossing her into a couch before she can get him. He retreats into the basement and slams the door shut before Karen gets there. He barricades the door with some planks of wood as the horde of ghouls just keep flooding into the house. Ben has nowhere else to go, so he crouches down and guards the bottom of the staircase as ghouls just keep pouring into the house. In the morning, an armed posse arrives to dispatch the remaining ghouls outside, and woken by their gunfire and siren, Ben emerges from the cellar. He goes over to the window, but someone from the posse mistakes him for a ghoul and shoots him in the head. Our final sets of nails go to Ben, and he is awarded a nice 3.5 nails in the coffin. He was the star of the movie. He saved Barbara. He kept cool under pressure the entire film. He formulated plans for everybody to get to safety. He was brave, and he knew not to take any shit from Harry. I was glad when he shot that asshole because Harry left him to die outside. Not his fault that he was shot dead because he was mistaken for a ghoul. So, yeah, he's a starring example for a high nail rating, and I'm very comfortable giving him 3.5 nails in the coffin. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are on my nails in the coffin for Night of the Living Dead. Here's a summary of all the nails I've awarded. Here is the average nails in a coffin, which is 1.71 nails, which is definitely on the higher end of my nails in a coffin averages. I mean, the first and last death in this film were 3 nails or higher, which definitely brought that average up. And I think it fits well, you know, all the 1 nail kills and being sandwiched in between these 2 3 nail ones. So yeah, that's pretty accurate. Let me know in the comments what you think. So I'll see you here next week, since after the night, what comes but the dawn, and I'll be covering George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. You know, all that usual stuff really helps me grow this channel. I appreciate it. Until then, take care, stay safe, be good to yourselves, and be good to each other. I am your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete. Remember, with great kills, there must also come great nails.